So Dr. C and I reconnected after my book got published. And like she said, she suggested that I should do a book reading. And I was like, no, that's not my thing. And I was reluctant, hesitant. But then I thought, you know what? There are so many dog lovers out there. And maybe they can take something out of my story. Because when you love dogs, unfortunately, we all have to go through this. And we have to survive from that too. So that's why I'm here today. And you can't see her, but that's Baby Blue, short for BB. And she was turning to my friends rescue group that I help with, Border Collie Rescue Rehab, a great rescue group based in Dallas. And she was about 3 months old when she got turned in. And she is deaf, if you don't know. And when she came to us, she was a foster dog. When she came to us, she had a severe case of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Anybody familiar with that? Okay, so, and I'm learning that, or I'm hearing more and more that the OCD in deaf dogs are pretty common. I hear a lot of cases like that. And I don't think her OCD will ever go away completely. And she has so many other issues. And if you guys are a rescuer, I think you understand. You know, when taking a dog comes with those issues that we have to work on. And I think those issues are going to be for life, some of them. But we're committed to it. But luckily, I would say her issues are about 90% under control / managed with hard work. As of today, knock on wood. And I do talk a little bit, just a little bit about BB in the book, but I created a different separate chapter in the end called PS, because this is about Jazzy, and I wanted to keep it about her. But BB was and is a part of my grieving process. She helped me. So I wanted to include her in the book, and you can read about it. Heart Dog, Angel in Disguise. To Jazzy, the most perfectly imperfect dog I will ever love. So I got Jazzy as an 8-week-old puppy, and she was fearful, quirky, typical for Border Collies, you know. She had a lot of issues, and she was aloof and scared of everything, from loud noises to sudden movement, anything out of the ordinary. Like just a box sitting in the middle of the room. She was scared. And I called him her Bordernerd. On page 9, Jazzy was becoming more confident as days went by, but there was always a new boogeyman. She was suspicious of packages that got delivered and hid when the washer and dryer were being used. She didn't enjoy having her picture taken, even with a small camera. I only just recently noticed that I don't have one puppy picture of her smiling. She hid under my bed whenever she was scared. Sometimes I couldn't even figure out what was scaring her. When she finally came out of her hiding place, I would tell her that I would never ever hurt her. When I introduced her, let me see if I have a sample. There. So when I introduced her to a clicker, if you don't know what it is, it's a training device that makes sharp metal noises when pressed. She did not come out from under my desk for hours. That little sound, she was terrified. I stared at her two pink paws and tried to convince myself to accept her for who she was. But as a mom, it was my job to help her to live a more fulfilled life, not one of fear. I had pledged to take care of Jazzy, and giving up was not my option. First, I got her used to the sound of the clicker. Her fear of the clicker was so strong, it took her a long time to overcome it. You might wonder why I even bothered getting her used to a training tool she was so afraid of. Sure, I could have avoided a clicker altogether, but I knew there would always be something else for her to fear. The clicker symbolized our goal in general. It wasn't just about the clicking sound, it was about learning to adjust, accept, and adapt whatever she might face in the future. Soon enough, she stopped hiding under the bed when she heard a clicking sound. Instead, she danced around when she saw me pick it up. With the help of this simple tool, I was able to get her used to the vacuum cleaner, trash bins, small children, skateboards, and ultimately the rest of the world. And by the time Jazzy was about a year old, she was a more confident young dog, very toy obsessed and driven, and I was able to get her to get certified to be a search and rescue dog. And we trained our dogs on rubble piles and thick woods, and we worked 5-6 times a week. Obedience, scent work, agility, socialization, whatnot, and we loved every minute of it. But unfortunately, I had to retire Jazzy after she injured her knee. When she recovered from it, after going through surgery after surgery and rehab, she and I started working as a therapy dog team. On page 18. When the residents at the nursing home learned about her injuries and the rehab she was going through, they immediately connected with her. One lady in particular had a fondness for Jazzy. She wasn't able to speak well, but with dogs, words aren't necessary. When she saw Jazzy, the lady smiled as if greeting her own granddaughter. She gestured to us to come into her dark room, which held only tiny hospital beds and an empty chair waiting for a visitor. Jazzy would wave at her, which made a lady's face collapse in joyful wrinkles. When an old gentleman wanted to pet her but couldn't move his hand, Jazzy hopped onto a stool, put her chin on the bed, and slid her muzzle under his palm so he could feel her soft fur. The man shut his eyes and embraced the connection. He and many of the residents told me just how much they missed their dogs and told stories about their beloved and absent companions. At the hospital, Jazzy showed off her cute tricks to make sick children giggle. The little people that she used to fear as a young dog. I could not have imagined her having this kind of rapport with people when we first started our life together. And this is her knocking on the door. Let me in. And this is from a READ program, and some of you are familiar with READ program. This is for kids who are a little behind on the reading skills, or they're shy to read to other people. So our dogs, the trained dogs, will come in, and the kids read to them. So it's a little less overwhelmed, and she did a great job. This is a video. It might be hard to hear for you guys. I'm going to explain to you what this is. So every Tuesday night after work, Jazzy and I visited this hospice. And this lady, Sandra, and we became very good friends. And we would sit and chat, and then mostly her talking to me, I just listen, and Jazzy just cuddle up, and then she'll pet. And Sandra became her favorite, and Jazzy was Sandra's favorite. So I decided that every time we go into this hospice, even though she wasn't the first one, we decided she's going to be the first one to visit, make her special. So I go in and I asked her, "You ready to visit?" And she'll cock her head. And then I'll tell her, "Where's Sandra?" And she will look for her using her nose. And it helps that she's a search and rescue dog. Through all these rooms, and somehow she knows where she is. Capturing Angels, the beginning of our photography journey. In 2013, my ex-husband left us. It was unexpected and I was devastated. I went into a depression for the first time in my life. I had no human kids. I had no family here. I was by myself, nobody here. And all I had were my dogs, Jazzy and Cooper. And I remember crying myself to sleep every night, feeling unwanted, undesired, and feeling sorry for myself. That went on for quite a bit. But all that changed when one day Jazzy gave me her silently with her tennis ball. Reluctantly, I grabbed my car key, an old Nikon, put my dogs in the car, and our photographic journey began that day. And here's the very first picture of our journey taken at the Herman Park. And this is very special to me because this got me where I am. And we drove around everywhere, every day, every weekend, whenever we have chance, even when it was raining. And looking for interesting spot, background colors, ideas, went into a bookstore, made her do little tricks. And I love this. This is so different from what I usually take, but it was a surprise shot that I got. I don't remember what it was, just a gas station. Next to it was a laundry place, and it looked empty and it really like dirty. And let's see what's inside. And there was nobody, but this gorgeous blue. So I gotta take a picture of this. And of course, dogs are not allowed. I went in there and took a quick shot. And then realized there was a camera. So I waved at them, thank you. That turned out to be one of my favorite pictures. Now this picture took me a lot of practice, a lot of preparation, because this was an accident shot. I had to teach Jazzy multiple behaviors to do at the same time. First, she had to look away. No, dogs usually look at you, but she had to look away from me and then press her muzzle against this telescope and hold that position for at least 3 seconds so that I could take a picture. On top of that, I asked her to bark on cue, so that it looks like she's looking at something, gasping. And Cooper, he always has an easy job. And these were taken before that shot. So this is, you see some interesting shot on social media and you think, oh, they got lucky. No. It took me a lot of practice. This is the first one, second one, and third one, but I wasn't happy. So I ended up doing it in the backyard. Now this one looks like just a peaceful, quiet picture. It was taken in Brandon, Texas. I love that city. A lot of beautiful textures. In fact, there were at least a couple hundred people behind me.
Oh wow!
We stumbled upon this county fair. There was a lot of music happening, and people were lined up to use the porta potty. And I thought, okay, that yellow thing looks so gorgeous. I want to use them. It's a porta potty. So I wanted to get a picture. So we got in line with the rest of the people. When it was our turn, I asked Jazzy to knock on the door. So it looks like she's waiting for her turn. And then I took a shot, didn't use the porta potty, and then took off. And the people were like,
They went home and told their friends about
yeah,
the crazy lady.
they're probably taking pictures too. And I took a lot of, as you can see, so many BFF series. They were the best pair of dogs that I could ever ask for. By the way, Cooper also passed away a couple months ago, so they were in heaven together, BFF. And we went to the beach almost every weekend until it started to get really crowded. and we did some silly shots. So right after, I would say like 2 seconds after this shot got taken, he punctured that float. And when we ran out of places to go in the city, we took road trips. And I avoided freeways as much as possible. We took 2-lane country roads so that I can photograph them against this interesting things that we don't get to see in Houston, like grass, mountains, horizons. Oh, sorry. And one of the road trips was to New Orleans. So Jazzy and I went to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and that was the first time I went to New Orleans. And it wasn't the New Orleans I was supposed to see. So I really wanted to go back there after they rebuilt and then photograph with Jazzy. So, and I was able to do that. Those beautiful buildings, hotels, textures, the color. Oh, I love that. Don't you love that? The texture.
Yeah.
I always tell him, oh, that's texture. Textures and colors and smells and everything, the culture, music. Then we went to New Mexico, which I called, I don't know if you can see, there's a little head of a snowman. And I call this trip In Search of a Snowman. There's a deeper meaning to it, and you can read about it. And I kept going northwest from Houston, and I had no destination, no plan. It was just the 3 of us, and I'm just gonna go keep driving until I find a heavy snow. And so that I can build this snowman, which was our symbol of our trip. But unfortunately, this snow was very powdery, so I could only make a head of it. I tried. And all these road trips were so therapeutic to my heart. Another place I visited often was a place called Blisswood. I don't know if you ever heard about it. Blisswood, it's in Cat Spring. The ranch owner, Carol, she's my friend, had me stay in one of her old rustic cabins. And I helped train her foster dogs, because she had sometimes 20 to 30 foster dogs. A lot of them have a lot of behavior issues. So my job was to train these dogs, and then she let me stay in one of her cabins. And between training those dogs, I took pictures of Jazzy and Cooper. And she didn't have internet or TV, radio. It was just me, the dogs, my camera, and it was wonderful. It was very wonderful. On page 74, Blisswood. When the divorce was filed, I shot a picture of Jazzy in front of an old window inside a cabin. In it, she was posed as an angel looking up the sky. I wanted to create something hopeful and enchanting. I used to say, only half jokingly, that dogs were undercover angels who were here to watch over us. How else could I describe an animal so pure, so innocent, and so benevolent? As time went on, I started coming up with even more cheerful images. Cooper helpfully retrieving a roll of toilet paper, or the dogs trying to hitchhike to the beach, with my head releasing its clutter of worry and anger. My creativity flows in a cleansing stream. And here's he was so good at retrieving. Retriever. And you can see that, the same one. So again, Cooper has the easy job. Jazzy has to do all the work. They both get treats. And this is called a Pondering Pond series. I have a lot of those. If you look at this picture closely, you can tell that Jazzy is always paying attention to me. Can you tell? Which part of her body tells you that? The ears. So most of these pictures, she's always listening to me, waiting for me to say, okay, you're released. And here are some other pondering ponds images. Her ears are always pointing at me. By the way, I want to tell you this little story. You see this little tree there? And I took this picture right after I met him. It was just, I just love going to the ponds. And I found this little pond near his house that I moved into. Oh, it's so serene, and I want to take a picture, snap, snap. And a couple of years later, we didn't know it, we ended up buying a lot, and we're building a house right there. And that tree, we can see that tree from our bedroom. So they better not cut down that tree. And more BFF pictures. Now I love fog pictures. When I used to work full-time at a school district, and I would drive to work and I see fog, and I want to just call in and sick. There should be a fog day instead of sick days. But sometimes on the weekends we got fogs, and I was so excited, and I took this picture of the Blisswood and left a reflection too. So what I did is we all walked to this side of the pond, and I had them stay, and Cooper holding the frisbee, and I walked all the way to the other side, and you can't tell how big this pond is in this picture, but it's pretty big. I walked maybe 3-4 minutes, and then I got a shot of them staying, and then I told them, okay, and I released them because I wanted to get an action shot. So Jazzy heard me and said, okay, I can come. And then she started running. Oh, that's beautiful. But Cooper, he was getting old and he was losing his hearing, so he didn't hear me. So he was being so patient, obedient, and he was still sitting, holding the frisbee. And then that's how I got the shot. And this wasn't my intention. That's not what I wanted, but then I love it even more because it's authentic, it's a real moment.
Is Cooper in this shot? I can't.
Yes, this is Cooper. Yeah, he blends in, I know.
Thank you for pointing
He's
out.
hiding behind the frisbee.
I didn't see it either. No, I can't
And this
see
is
it.
that, you can tell how far we really are. This is
Yeah.
the same, that's the before that shot. Then we went to Durango, Colorado, thanks to our friend Luis. Beautiful place. Don't you love the snow pictures, the dogs? Makes them so sweet. They're sweet. And there's a story behind this photo, and it's in the book. I'm not gonna get into that, but it was adventurous for me.
Oh, very sweet.
So in 2015, soon after the Colorado trip, I met another love of my life, besides Jazzy, because she was my first love. And I thought I finally found my happy ending. But life gave me another bump on the road when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I call it silver lining, and you can read why I call it silver lining. Just, maybe I can summarize. If I didn't have a cancer, if I didn't get that detection the time that I did, I would not have met Todd. So I call it blessing in a disguise. And being a therapy dog, she was able to get some of the doctor's appointments. And this was the last radiation treatment at Texas Oncology. Give me a high five. 8 paws and 8 feet. In 2016, we tied the knot. The 6 of us, Todd and I, Jazzy and Cooper, Kyle and Morgan, his kids, now ours. And as a family, we've been on many trips, mostly camping trips. Just like I did with Cooper and Jazzy when I was single. So I was able to continue that. And we went to the beach a lot, and when we couldn't, we pitched a tent in the house or in the yard, and I took pictures. So if you look at this picture, this is a beautiful family portrait, right? Everybody's happy, smiling. Look at that bond they have. That's what photographers want. But I think I like this one better. This is a behind the scene moment. This is reality.
That's the reality.
So, I'm a dog trainer. I believe in positive reinforcement. So everybody in their household gets rewarded for the job they do. So this one is a blue M&M, and Kyle's getting the M&M for being a good model. And you can see Morgan, oh, that's my favorite color. That was a Bolivar. Oh, I gotta tell you a story about this. So before I met Todd and his kids, peanut butter to me was dog food. Anybody agree with me? So I'm Japanese and we don't really eat too much peanut butter. So okay, I buy them, but it was dog food. But when we got married and blended family, and that confused her. So he started eating her food, and I was able to capture her expression. And the 4 kids got along amazingly, and I couldn't have asked for a better blended family. Because when you remarry and you have human children, that's blended family. But to us, the dog lovers, dogs are our kids. You know, that's really important that they all get along. Being a read dog again. Dogs are in every part of our lives, doing scrapbook, taking a bath. In January of 2017, thank you. It was 6 months after I completed my breast cancer treatment. I received the worst news of my life, of my child. Jazzy had cancer, which started in her leg, and we were given 2 weeks.
Oh,
Page 127, chapter 9, the right decision. The primitive part of our brains that still operates in survival situations flipped on. I recalled cases of my friends' dogs diagnosed with cancer and other terminal illnesses who ended up living quality lives way past their prognosis. I told myself that we would get Jazzy fixed, just as I had always fixed her when she was sick, injured, and troubled in the past. It was absurd to even think that Jazzy, my Jazzy, could die. She would be all right. Chapter 10, keep counting up. Bonus day 1. Today's blessing, Jazzy's home. Todd and I picked Jazzy up from the clinic, still drowsy from the medications. I talked to her, promising this would be the last time she was in a hospital, alone. If I had chosen the other path, we would already have said our final goodbye. Any amount of time I have with Jazzy from this moment on is a bonus, and I am going to hold dear every second of it. I was initially given 2 weeks left with her. I could be counting down the days we've been given, but we are going to start counting up for each day we were granted of her life. I was afraid to look at her shoulder where her leg and a cancerous tumor had been removed, but I had to keep an eye on the surgical site to watch for infection. Uncannily, Jazzy's scar ran between where her arm used to be toward her chest on her left side, just like the scar on mine where my cancer had been removed. I stared at her survivor's mark, touched my own, and felt strength in our unbreakable bond. Bonus day 3. Today's blessing, appetite is life. She is so hungry finishing a whole bowl of chicken soup I made for her and all the extra snacks I happily whip out when she wants more. Cooking for her and feeding her have become the highlights of my day. She's already learning to potty on 3 legs. Dogs are incredible to be able to adapt to such major changes so quickly. Unhampered by the human ability to feel sorry for themselves and regret loss, they simply continue life with the same enthusiasm as before. Tonight, I haven't gotten much sleep for a different reason. From those of recent days, she is sleeping so peacefully, I can't stop watching her. My heart is full of gratitude for this extra day and my gnawing doubts about having made the best decision for her have relented. Dr. Cornelius, an in-home hospice vet, came to visit Jazzy today. I was afraid that she was going to tell me something I didn't want to hear, but she reassured me that Jazzy's quality of life is still good, and she scored her low on the pain scale. And just one of her favorite activities was to go check mail and tell her, "Do you want to check mail?" And she gets really excited and go check mail. In fact, she sniffed. She wasn't able to do that yet, so we put her on the wagon and I just strolled her so she could smell the neighborhood. And this was a short video of her learning to walk on 3 legs. For a big chunk of roast.
Helps when they're food motivated.
Exactly. Good girl. Good girl. Almost there. Almost there. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. Here we go. Bonus day 9. Today's blessing. Pause button. I made a cup of tea for myself and sat on the floor next to her, and she rested her head on my leg and fell asleep so peacefully. The radio plays a Beethoven piano sonata in the background. My heart swells with love and tenderness and the joy her presence is for me. Time stops right here. Bonus day 16, today's blessing, high five. I was having a quick bite in the kitchen and was puzzled seeing Jazzy shifting her body to the right repeatedly. Her movement became more exaggerated when I didn't respond to it. And it hit me. She was giving me a high five with her missing front leg, begging for the food in my hand. The amputated leg was her dominant leg for the high five, and in her mind, she was doing the trick perfectly. Oh my goodness, I didn't know if I should laugh or cry, so I did both. And needless to say, I gave her all the rest of my snack. And we got to go back to one of her favorite places, the beach, the 3 of us. And it's a short video clip. And she look regal.
She looks good.
Looks good.
Yeah, smiling.
Oh.
The car ride, wind in her face. Look at her tail. Look at her tail.
Good day.
Mm-hmm. Best day. Bonus day 20. Today's blessing. Water baby. So FYI, these were taken before she fell ill. Jazzy followed me out and lay on the grass where she could watch me. I thought about the days in our old house, looking after my garden while younger Cooper and Jazzy played in the sprinkler water. I always loved watching them dashing after the sunlit drips. drops. I grabbed the hose to water my neglected vegetables, looked at that nozzle, and wondered. Nah, I brushed away the hopeful thought. I turned on the nozzle and water spurted in different directions, some of it shooting towards Jazzy. And I saw it, a sharpening of her awareness. I turned the pressure down so she wouldn't be soaked and let the water come out in a trickle in front of her. Her ears went up and forward, her eyes big and glued to the stream, and she went for it. Chomp, chomp. No way, no way. Forget about the garden. I hooked the hose up to Jazzy's favorite sprinkler and placed it in the middle of the yard. There she went, dancing around the green sprinkler, jumping on all three legs with her excited whining nose. I do not know how to adequately express the depth and breadth of my joy right then. Here's the video.
Is that tail?
Yeah, I know. Before dinner, all of us walked to the mailbox together. The sun was starting to set and the sky was painted multiple hues of pink, purple, blue, and a touch of yellow. I was overwhelmed by love as I watched Todd carrying Jazzy in his arms with her white paw wrapped around his neck. Todd is her favorite man ever, and Jazzy is his favorite furry friend. We enjoyed our family dinner, with Jazzy lying her usual spot beside me, occasionally looking up to see what else I was going to share with her on my plate. I have now accepted that my broken heart will never be the same, nor will the grief ever be gone for good. I know that it is part of me for the rest of my life, and that is okay. It has to be. No matter how much time passes, how many new dogs I might love in the future, I am always going to miss Jazzy. True love has two sides. When you love someone so deeply with everything you got, you also have the affliction of losing that someone one day. The more powerful the love is, the more heart-rending the goodbye. Jazzy was my strength, but she was also my greatest weakness. I am blessed to have known such love, pure and unconditional, with pain and all, and have it given back in full. I sometimes have difficulty describing the feelings I have for Jazzy. How do I put my feelings into words when the word love isn't enough? I loved her from the moment I held her, and when people around me thought my puppy love would fade, when I thought I could love her more, I did. Something told me that I would never have another dog like her. And I know I have found my heart dog, the once in a lifetime soul dog. It is almost cruel to be given such a gift, only to have it taken away so quickly. The only way for me to cope with this reality is think of dogs as angels. We are only born them for a short amount of time. Each angel, in disguise, teaches us life lessons, patience, forgiveness, and appreciation for the simple things in life. And here are some pictures of Dee Dee. She has a big paws to fill, but she's doing the day I met her at the adoption place, and she had this sad eyes. I call her sad. Is that puppy eye? Sad? I forgot them. But she always had these sad eyes, and she never smiled, just like Jazzy. But I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but then these days she gives me all these smiles and happy faces. And this is her first tooth. She goes and I kept it. And she got the biscuit next day. And she's starting to be more regal like Jazzy used to be. And he started doing these things. This wasn't staged, but so this used to be Jazzy's way of sleeping, taking a nap. And then one day I saw Bibi doing the exact same thing in the exact spot. Paws crossed, back leg up on the wall. And this is not the only one, and she does other things like this. So around. So if you're familiar, if you're curious about the obsessive compulsive disorder, this is a very short clip of Bibi doing one of the episodes. So this is not the bad one, and I don't like to record or allow the dogs to rehearse bad behaviors over and over because that can be reinforcing, and I just can't watch her do it because it's very painful to see. So this cute little puppy just pouncing, and it looks so cute. She's playing, and most people think that, but it's not cute, and it gets worse and worse if I don't stop. There's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
And she will do it in the darkness. Because I thought maybe she's chasing shadows.
Oh yeah, light and shadows, OCD.
See, that's sad, right? That's not having fun. Yep. So, come on, she hasn't done that in a while. But she has other issues. So I want to end this presentation with more on a happy note. Jazzy and Cooper did a lot of trick videos, and Evie too. She's starting to do that, and I want to show you a couple. This is she loved socks, so I told her to remove my socks. Step by step on how I taught her. Lazy human.
Cooper too.
Reverse.
Cooper's like, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
He said, I can't do
This is one of my favorite ones. Anybody seen this one before? Yeah? Okay. So I taught this trick to Jazzy alone when she was like 2 years old using clicker. And we didn't do this trick for a long, long time. And I thought, I wonder if she remembers that still. So, and this is what happened. So I'm breaking down to show other people how you teach that behavior. See that tail? Positive reinforcement. You're my spot.
Where am I supposed to stand? There's no room in here, Mom.
Oh my gosh. And this is Bibi's in this one. So I was trying to teach Bibi the same trick that Jazzy learned using the same technique. So remember, Bibi is deaf. So I couldn't use clicker because she can't hear it. You know about clicker, right? Clicker is to mark a behavior that you want to train. So instead of using a clicker, I do hand flashing. That means yes, then treat happens. So you'll see that in the video.
Yeah.
And the last video is, this is how I imagine heaven is like. They love each other. So peaceful. So that's my presentation.